New York City gears up for Election Day tomorrow. All eyes on the heated governor's race.
Yeah, a key demographic that could decide this race is the Latinx vote. 2.5 million Latinos call New York City home. Latinos represent that fastest growing voting bloc across the country. So what does that mean for New York's political future? Well, we're joined this morning by Frederick Velez, the National Director for Civic Engagement at the Hispanic Federation, with some insight on the Latinx vote. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thanks for the invitation. Excited to talk about the impact of the Latino vote in this election.
Yeah, glad to have you here. So while Democrats outnumber Republicans 2-1 here in New York, the recent polling and voter trends show that a growing number of Latinos favor Republicans, especially in battleground states like Florida and Texas. So what do you think are the chances of that happening here in New York?
So I think the important thing that parties are kind of figuring out is that Latinos are not a monolithic group, right? We have a lot of issues that we care about. And those issues are going to vary by where we live, by our life experiences, even by our nationality and our age. And what we've seen is that there's been a lack of outreach, of continuous outreach throughout the years. And both parties are kind of figuring that out. So what is important right now is that parties need to focus on making sure that they're reaching our community, that they're talking about the issues that we care about, and that at the end, we're always going to turn out for the candidates that we feel are speaking to what we feel, that we understand, that are reaching to us in the way that we want to be reached out to.
So what would you say then? You know, I'm listening to you talk here. What are the most important issues for Latinx voters heading into the midterm elections? What have you heard on the campaign trail that is really jumping out at you?
Well, we've been talking to a lot of voters, not only in New York, but in other states. And Latinos care about the same issues that everyday Americans care about, right? We care about being able to afford the house that we live in. We care about making sure that our kids have a good education. We care about our safety. And sometimes what we've seen is that parties may focus only, for example, on immigration. But that's not the only issue that we care about. So it's very important that when we're having these conversations, these priorities are communicated, because sometimes they're ignored. And that's why groups like us in Hispanic Federation and other groups that work with Latinos need to be there out on the field and ensuring that those are the issues that are being communicated, and that our community knows that they need to go out and vote, because that's the way that we're going to be heard and those issues are going to be solved.
So do you feel that either party has done enough to reach out to the Latinx vote?
Oh, no. And if you can talk to our community, you'll know that that's not true, right? That the number one thing that we're always being told is, why now? Right? Why wait until 2022 or 2024 when they could have been doing this in years prior, actually building relationships, actually building outreach in our language, and with the cultural components that we like.
Yeah.
So let's speak specifically about New York then, right? Because that's a big race that we're following. The governor's race tighter than anybody thought. Kathy Hochul's been calling in the heavy hitters the last few days, right? Former Presidents Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, just over the weekend. Do you think that seeing some of these headline names will swing some Latino voters?
I think it's not necessarily the names. I think it's the effort that's being put on, right? At the end of the day, what we want to feel is that we're being listened to, that we're being heard, that we're being visited. So having these big names is great, but it's also the infrastructure around it, right? That you suddenly have that outreach, that you suddenly have people paying attention to you, giving you information, and asking you to vote. And that's the most important thing, because sometimes it's even just providing that information for voters, giving them the options that they have, letting them know that election day is on Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things that's important.
Well, what about the name on the ballot? I mean, Hochul's running mate, Antonio Delgado, is the first Afro-Latino to run for lieutenant governor. How do you think that he'll do among Latinx voters?
So I think what he's representing is the need for more diversity, both at the city, at the statewide level. We are more than 20% of the population, yet we don't have that same representation both at the state level, at the congressional level, or even at the city and in appointments. So seeing someone with that last name, seeing someone who identifies as our community, I think will catalyze people to vote, to make sure that that number keeps increasing, because we need more diversity across the ticket, across parties, and in all positions in the state.
All right, Frederick Velez with the Hispanic Federation. Thank you so much for your perspective this morning as we head into the big day tomorrow of Election Day. Appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for the invitation, and remember, go vote tomorrow.
Yes.